Well, boys and girls, welcome back to the Rockford Ordinance once again. This is take two for December 6th. Just like the prior week, we were shut down midstream for some reason. It just kept saying that we had lost connection. However, it was still rolling and the chat went dead too. So people couldn't even tell me if we were having problems. But looks like we're up and running again. We'll see. I don't know. Waiting for some people to join here. Had a good stream going and it just died. So we'll give it a few minutes, see if somebody jumps back in. I don't see anybody jumping in. Rabbit hole. There we go. Yeah, just you and me, buddy. That's it. Funny how it shuts down at the most opportune moments. You know, I don't think any of it's random anymore. I really don't. I've seen it happen to people too much. I'm doing good. I'm fine. But who else is in here? Hopefully somebody else. I'm going to give it a minute or two, let everybody jump back in here. We had a good stream going too. I had a bunch of people hadn't seen in here before, and they jumped in. There were people from Wisconsin, people from Illinois, all over the place. So hopefully they jump back in again. We'll see. And we'll pick up where we left off, showing you some of these targets and what some of these loads did. And then we're going to get back to the AK thing and about the new barrel for the AR and a few other things. Want to talk about this Navy, I think he was a Navy veteran who supposedly happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And the ATF showed up and he had some really high dollar stuff in his Tesla trunk. And they seized it, although they didn't charge him with anything. And then they won't give it back now, won't answer his calls, all kinds of stuff. So that's a really interesting story if you guys have come across that anywhere. Let's see who's in the chat so far. We've only got a couple people here. It takes a while for the notification to go back out. Obviously, I did the notification earlier, and a bunch of people were able to and then be here at 8 o'clock for the chat. Well, it takes a few minutes for the notification to go out. I have not gotten it yet, and I would get it as well. So I doubt you guys got the notification. If you did get it, let me know here in the chat. Let's see, Rabbit. I was going to say you need to test your by 39 loadings in a bolt action to get a better picture of its accuracy. Yeah, but by the same token, you still want it to run well in automatic. It should still do better. Now, there's a good point you have there, and why I thought of it too was, let's say I test these rounds and these things are shooting lights out of let's say a Ruger. Ruger makes a couple rifles in 7.62 by 39, and let's say my loads are just killing it on paper in a bolt action. Well, then that tells us for sure, hey, these AKs just aren't all that accurate, but we'll see. And please don't take me wrong that I'm one of these guys, AKs are inaccurate. I don't think that's the case at all. I've shot some really, really good groups with an AK. That being said, if you watch Rob Ski and you see him shooting, 100, 200, 300, 500, 600, I've even seen him shoot further than that. He's shooting at an 18-inch torso piece of steel, and they're hitting the steel, but there's certainly no 2-inch, 4-inch, even 6-inch groups. They're just hitting where they're hitting. So if and that's what that weapon's for, right? It's made quick, easy, cheaply for a conscript army, where they can drop a few crates in a town and some peasants can grab them and fight, right? And they'll do their job out to any mid-range target. Are they 1,000-yard guns? Absolutely not. Look at the ballistics on them. The drop is incredible. You'd be launching them in literally at 1,000 yards, a 7.62 round. Here's the target. The bullets would be coming in like this. So you'd essentially, as that bullet's coming in, your target, depending on the angle here, maybe an inch wide or 2 inches wide, and you're trying to hit that. Because depending on the angle, that target gets, you see what I mean? Here, it's an 18-inch target. Here, maybe it's a 3-inch target. You know what I mean? Because that angle of trajectory is so steep. But can it be done? Can it shoot 500 yards? Sure. But it's tough. It's essentially very similar. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's the same as a 30-30 round." No, they're similar, but you're not going to take a 30-30 out hunting antelope, are you? At 400 yards, no, you're just not. Anyhow, that stream, I don't know if it was nuked or not, but on my end, it just showed that the chat went dead all of a sudden. It said your chat is dead. It flashed that everything disconnected. But then the picture came on and the clock counter was still going. But the chat was dead. So I was typing, asking you guys if you were still seeing it. And then I saw someone mention, oh, they nuked it. And I don't know why they would have nuked it. My internet was running just fine. It was looking great. I checked it even on my phone. I don't know what happened. Then I couldn't get out of the stream either, was the weird thing. It was like YouTube was having problems. But that's 2 weeks in a row, or 2 out of 3 weeks now that's happened. Kind of strange. Either that or maybe Elon Musk's new little venture there has affected his Starlink internet, which is what you're seeing me over right now. It's excellent service. We were a beta tester because we're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's gotten better and better and better and better. I've used every satellite internet service there is because of our location, and nothing's been as good as this. This has been the best, but I think that was definitely a YouTube problem. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I need some more light on me here. Let's see. Hold on. Then we'll get into this. I was just waiting for some people to come in. I don't know why I got no light on me here. Let's see. That any better? Light is here. Should be hitting me. Okay. Maybe my screen's just dark. Probably. And we should have enough people in here. We'll get going here. There we go. Now I can see myself on my own screen. How you guys like the Christmas shades, huh? No, I didn't turn into some art fuck, or a liberal. But hold on. I got the liberal glasses for you. These are just I needed readers. And try readers.com. Great glasses, cheap. 3 for $13. But these are it. I got these so they don't get confused, lost, or people won't steal them at the office. What do you think of those guys, huh? Oh. No, but actually, the red aren't bad. They're Kalashnikovs, commie red. Gotta like that. But for Christmas, we got the green. They look much brighter in person. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's about what they look like. So, yeah, this is your liberal AK channel here. We're going to talk about our pronouns for our rifles. Let us know if your rifles have any pronouns. I'm kidding. Yeah, and the beard's coming back in. It's winter. We got to grow a beard. It's friggin' cold up here in the Great White North. cold. I mean, cold, cold. Like you can feel the cold seeping through. But yeah, we're renaming the channel. Pronouns for AKs. That's what it's going to be. Anyhow, so I was babbling about all the reloading. For if anybody that had come into the channel that was new, um, and it looked that way. We had a lot of people I hadn't seen in here. That was great. Every time that happens, and I think, oh, here's a chance for the channel to grow, right? Bam, nuked. That was definitely a YouTube problem. Everything. I actually got a notification, but then I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even end the stream. I didn't know if you guys were in or not. It was just screwed. Anyhow, let's check in on the chat. Joe's gone. Damn it. See, Joe left. I hope he comes back. He'll come back. So yeah, Rabbit, that was a good idea. If I run it through a bolt action, I just don't have one. I wouldn't mind like a Ruger. Was it Ruger made it, or was there a Savage, like the short barrel ranch rifle? I think they even had a built-in brake on it. Maybe they were kind of cool. I wouldn't mind getting one of those. And hey, if I try those loads and these things are shooting awesome out of a bolt action, well, then we know the true tale. Because I gotta believe, with how well these things are loaded and everything, that they got to get better accuracy than that. But I don't know. Might be something I could get with Mr. Krebs, and maybe we'll just build one for accuracy. Really dive into it. That might be a program. I know what it's going to be. He's going to end up saying, well, Chris, we got to build you a short barrel AK. He is a firm believer that shorter barrels are more accurate when it comes to the AK. Reason being, guys, that friggin' gas block, it does all kinds of wonky stuff to the harmonics of the barrel. He will tell you all day long, every day, that the shorter barrel AKs are more accurate for sure. I just assume by 39 is for short range, 0 to 300. That's what it really is. It really is. And that's pushing it, I just use red dots and accept its limitations. Yeah. And that's what you do. I like I said in the part 1 of this thing, I got into this by 39 project with a viewer here that helped me out tremendously. And I don't know where he disappeared to. I haven't seen him here in a long time. He owns a gun shop in Michigan, and he was helping me out, sending me all kinds of custom bullets and stuff and powders, and really into this thing. And I think he just lost faith in me that I didn't know what I was doing, but I know what I'm doing, just couldn't get it to work. Anyhow, and he said he was doing it with these loads with a Wasser. I'm like, wow. And custom cast bullets and all this stuff. And he was getting sub MOA groups at 200. And I don't know. I don't know. Hey, I'm glad Joe Mercado's here from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. I saw a video from Fond du Lac the other day. They had arrested a bunch of people, and they looked like crazy meth heads. I don't know what the hell. I didn't catch what the crime was or anything. It was on the news up here. And I'm like, Fond du Lac, I thought you're kind of like us up here up north, where there's not a lot of crime, not a lot going on. I mean, it's too damn cold up here to commit crime. If anything, the only crime that goes on up here is you walk out of the bar, you're extremely drunk, and your snowmobile won't start, so you borrow another one sitting out in the bar parking lot just to get home before you freeze to death. It's not considered theft or anything. You just have to return it in the morning. Or they'll be out looking for it. But yeah, that's the only crime that happens up here, is drunken snowmobile borrowing. Trails should be pretty good coming up here pretty soon. And we'll be ripping around. Lakes froze up. Everything's good. It's cold. Anyhow, we left off showing you those targets, but I'm going to go into the chat here and talk to you guys. Let's talk about, like I say, what you guys want to talk about. This is your live stream. We talk about what you want to talk about. I got one thing to say, and I'm going to say it and be done with it. So don't leave, because I don't want to bore you, but I got to say it. YouTube demonetizes a lot of our videos. The one you saw earlier today, about a half hour ago, I dropped. It was ready to drop a week ago, but I was waiting for it to be approved, because they said, oh, it's not, we got to check it. So it came back demonetized. I asked for a human to review it, and it came back confirmed, demonetized. And it's on a Vepr. And I'm doing a tabletop review with a little shooting at a range. We didn't modify anything. We didn't take a gun apart. We didn't put it back together. We didn't do anything. We shot in a safe place. We didn't mention any websites, none of all their little rules. And it's demonetized. Sorry. And refer to these rules. Well, you refer back to them, and they're so vague, you don't know what you did, if anything. Or is the monetizer just, or the person looking at it, just not know what they're looking at when they're talking about gun videos? Until you have so many subscribers and they assign you your own personal little YouTube pet that can tell you what's going on, you don't know. You're guessing. I have no idea. If one of you guys know a lot about this, and go and look at that Vepr video I just dropped, tell me what I did wrong, why they demonetize it. But that happens. You make nothing then, and nobody sees it. It doesn't get into the algorithm. You guys, if you're subscribed, will see it because you get notified. But other than that, it falls into never land. It gets 100 views and bye, and you're not making any money even on those 100 views. But they're showing, even though it's demonetized, not suitable for most advertisers, they're still putting commercials on it, any commercials, doesn't matter. And they are making money on it, but I don't get paid. It's the biggest scam on the planet. And there's nothing wrong with the video. I'm not showing how to create any bad, scary things. I am literally giving a video on now a historic weapon that's not even available anymore. So you're showing people that can't get one of these because they're banned from import now. Oh, maybe they took it as banned, right? No, banned from import. So now it's a historic weapon. You're showing people what was available, what could have been back in the day, and they want to see these things because they can't get one. So you take a video about the history of the AK-47, and you don't want to pay me for it after all the investment. So that being said, guys, in the live chat down there, the only way we make money on this channel, I said that wrong. The only way we get any funds to help support this channel, because we don't make money, trust me, is down where you post a chat. There's a little dollar sign down there, and you can leave a penny to $1 million and anywhere in between. 7.62 is always a fun one. 556 is a fun one. Whatever it is, if you can help out and you like what you see here and you like the videos, please help us out. Helps us buy ammo and gas to get out testing and all of that stuff. And we always use it for the channel. So we appreciate it. If you can't, we get it, man. Times are tough. Trust us, we know times are tough. So if you can't, just hang in there, enjoy, and one day when things are better, maybe you throw a little our way. We would appreciate it. But thank you for coming here. Either way, check out our videos, tell your friends about us, share our videos, do everything and anything you can to help this channel grow. We would appreciate it because I truly love and enjoy doing this for you guys and answering questions and all that good stuff. So let's see. MZ's here, Orient Fixer's here, Chase is here, Rabbit Hole Reviews is here. I still like to buy 39 just for barrier penetration. Absolutely. There's nothing like a 30 caliber round, right? I love shooting my ARs. I used to not enjoy it. I really didn't. I love just shooting AKs and older stuff, Garand, stuff like that. And the AR to me was just, it's like there's a million of them, right? But the more I've built different variants, I enjoy shooting it. I enjoy getting it accurate. But I still love shooting AKs. I mean, there's nothing like a 30 caliber round when it comes to just power, and it's such a great round. It's just that little stubby, I can do it kind of bullet, like the little choo-choo that could, right? It's a cool round. I love it. Had a great session Saturday with a Navy buddy, helped him build his first rifle. and had to fend off attack from a horde of pumpkins. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hopefully you relieve them of their stringy innards, so to speak. Pumpkins are always fun. I love when they get the nerve up to attack, don't you? They're awesome. And they're so plentiful this time of year, especially rotten ones on your porch, right? I saw a joke the other day about when your neighbor's putting out Christmas lights and you still have rotten pumpkins on your front porch. That's me. Yep. Anyhow, Russ 77 is here. Good to see you. Uh, who is that? Not required. That's cool. Ready for Illinois HB 5855. Yeah, holy cow, I heard about that. So believe it or not, here in Wisconsin, we do get some outside news, and it took a few days. We heard about the Illinois one right away, and uh, they were even talking how it might affect the numbers of people coming up hunting and stuff like that. But how about Michigan, man? God damn. Um, Whitmer, how she ever got reelected is beyond me. I mean, I know the feelings about her there, and it's just another one of those amazing things. How? You go to your people, people at work. Hey, did you vote for him? No. Did you vote? Did you vote for him? No. Did you vote? Nah. Who voted for the? I mean, or maybe they didn't. Who knows? It's just amazing. And they know about Bruin and they know all this stuff. And if it gets to Supreme Court, obviously it's unconstitutional. But again, it's the time. It's the time for it to get there. Uh, in the meantime, who knows? I'm sure, like other states, like Oregon now, you've got sheriffs that aren't going to do anything about it. Anybody I know, I'm not going to call you guys out unless you guys mention it. But for those of you in Michigan or Illinois, what are you going to do? Let's say a assault weapon ban comes in. And I think the one, Oregon, I think there's a grandfather clause. I don't know if there is one in Illinois or Michigan. Maybe somebody could tell us. And what's your plans? If it goes through, what are you going to do? I assume if there is a grandfather, they're going to want them registered. You should just say, hey, you already got that info. What do you need it again for? Right? Or call the ATF. They'll tell you. Yeah, let me know what you guys are going to do. Is that your line in the sand? Are you going to say, sorry, not doing it? Come get them? Or are you going to say, yeah, we'll be right down with all our serial numbers. What are you going to do? Somebody will say, well, you should just move out of that state, right? Well, I know it's hard. I mean, a move takes a lot of planning, effort, timing, all of that. Trust me, I did it. I mean, ours was a little different, but you can't just, sell one place, drop another, especially economy and things. Now, there was a lot of time there to do it, guys, over the last 6 years, 8 years or so. But now you're in a downspin again. Credit's tightening. All the banks are tightening up on mortgages, who they'll give them to, all of that, how much they'll lend. Watch and see. Not only are rates going up, but it's going to be hard to get loans. They'll tighten up on credit cards. They'll tighten up on auto loans. They'll tighten up on everything. Although I hear you can go to Credova and charge up, 10, 20 AKs. So you might want to try that. They sure don't have a problem with lending money for firearm related products, huh? I thought all these Visa and MasterCard companies weren't going to, you'd go to a gun shop, whip out your credit card, and they see the code where it's coming from, and they decline it. Obviously not Credova or whatever the hell the name is of it. Anybody ever try that? Has it worked out? I don't know what they do. I guess you put a certain percentage of it you pay up front, and then every month they ding your card for it or something. Anybody ever tried it? How's it work? I'd be interested to know. I always thought it was maybe some secret communist socialist plan to where because you bought it on that, they somehow own it partially and continue ownership even after you pay it off, and then they come seize it one day. Could be. Ruger American Ranch Rifle. Yes, that's the one, Ross, that I saw. That I- they had it at Fleet Farm up here. I think it was the one in Wausau, Wisconsin. And I almost bought it one day, and they're not a lot of money, I don't think. They sure look cool. They make them in a lot of those bigger calibers, like 350 Legend and SOCOM 450. Is it SOCOM or something? Or Beowulf? They had them in all these big calibers. I want to build an AR in one of those calibers just because it's like a range toy, like, dude, look at these things. Arrow makes an extra large upper where the ejection port is bigger just for those big rounds. And it is pretty cool. That Kentucky Ballistics did a video with one, taking out a cinder block wall with it. And I think it was like 50 Beowulf or something out of an AR pistol. And yeah, pretty cool video. Yeah, again, it's just a range toy. Got to cost you a fortune to load that stuff. But let's see what else is going on. Stick with the green. Yeah, I think so. Right? They're not as bad. The other ones are just to make the guys at work laugh, piss them off. Walk over there. Hi there, guys. How's everything? Rabbit Hole, he's doing a review on a WBP. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to see a WBP. Polish AK. How many Americans does it take? No, I'm kidding. I'm Polish, guys, just so you know. Don't worry. Polish, Czech, German, and a lot of Swedish. Good Swede, Vikings. We like it cold up here. You guys can keep your heat down there. I can't stand it. Let's see. We are screwed in Michigan assault weapon ban coming in January. What are you going to do, Ross? Anything? Are they grandfathering? You got to register? What are they doing? Man, screw these people. Like Squeaky's here, just getting in. Good. You missed the first one that they zapped. It all went bye-bye. Hattori Hanzo, Wayne, and Kent counties control the election in Michigan. Yeah, unfortunately, they do. I'm going to be in Michigan a lot this year, guys. I got a new fishing boat. Some of you guys know. Not new. It's a couple of years old, but it's like new. It had 40 hours on it. And literally not a mark. And it's gorgeous. If any of you guys are into fishing, there's one boat only that 10 out of 10 people will say, yep, that's the finest fishing boat made. And it's a Ranger. And it's a pre-Bass Pro Shop Ranger, so it's even better. They've cheapened up the new ones. They're not quite there. That's why Mr. Wood took his name off of them. But yeah, what a boat. And fast and just badass looking. I mean, it looks cool standing still, let alone with nothing but the prop in the water at 65 miles an hour. But we do a lot of musky fishing up here and walleye fishing. And Lake St. Clair has some really good musky fishing. And I got a lot of friends that are guides. I used to guide back in the day up here when I was single. And I got a good friend that's a guide. And he does Lake St. Clair a lot. So we're going to head over there a bunch this spring and summer and see what we can put in the boat. He had several fish this year, and I mean a lot of fish, over 54 inches this year. And that's a big muskie in anybody's book. Let's see. There are a bunch of gun-hating buttholes that hate freedom. Yep. You did nothing wrong, quite sure. It's a 22-year-old liberal reviewer that hates guns and knows. Yeah, probably. That's what I'm thinking too, DB. Let's see. They already know what you have. Yeah, they do. Why do they need you to register? They know everything you've ever bought unless it was a private party sale. Tax guy I know says if you don't want to pay taxes, just file, but don't send payment because each is a separate crime, and they always know if you don't file. Wait, if you don't want to pay taxes, just file, but don't send payment because each is a separate crime. Oh, so file so you don't get charged with the crime of not filing, just not paying. I got a I know a guy, I won't tell you how I know him, that hasn't paid taxes in 10, 15, 20 years. He takes his whatever he gets. I don't know if he's 1099 or W 2 or whatever, but he writes exempt on the return and sends it in. And he's not hiding, he's not anything. I don't know if he has a bank account, and if he did they grab it or anything? I don't know. High interest on Credova. Oh, I'm sure. I'm positive that there's that. I never looked into it. Grandfather them so they don't hit you later, then move. Yeah. Let's see. Ross, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I want to move, but my wife and kids don't. They drafted the House bill in Michigan to have a grandfather clause, but gives us 1 year to register them. So bum Whitner was reelected. I can't believe it. I just can't. And guys, I only know because through the whole thing, my daughter was going to school there. So I felt like I was back in Michigan. It was nice. I loved going to visit her. I loved going to see 2AEDU and Ross and all these guys. And I love that state. I really do. If it wasn't Wisconsin, I'd move to Michigan. I really would. Actually, I might rather live in Michigan because when Michigan's free, Michigan's much freer, and the mindset there is better. But here we have Madison, same thing. The enclave of ultra libs. Anytime I had to go see my attorney in Madison, I hated it. Just absolutely hated it. Just look around. Even the stores, you can tell. There are these, and I'm not banging entrepreneurs at all because if I didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit, I don't know what I'd do with my life. But um, it's the type of is what I'm talking about. Yeah, there are all these little businesses started on a shoestring, resale shops and some kind of veganness and no wheat that and the signage out front looks like a 2-year-old made it and all of that, and that's how that whole area is. And you're like, man, they claim to be so intellectually superior and all, but yet they can't start a business the right way. And you could claim that, hey, they're doing it on a shoestring and good for them, but it's just always the same look, right? It's like there's pride in something half-ass. I don't know. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. And then the hair colors and the hippie clothes and the patchouli and all the other shit that goes along with it. Just, I can't stand it. Sorry. What do you want from me? Uh, so he's got 1 year. Hattori, so bum Whitmer. Yeah, squeaky. Can't go wrong with a Ranger. No, you can't. They're just great boats. You need to do a fishing video in the spring. I'm going to, and I should still post my Marlin video. The only reason I'm not posting my Marlin video. So we're in Mexico, and I get very little time outside of work other than the range, and the range I'm covered up usually. Well, we're in Mexico, and I'm in shorts, and I don't know what possessed me other than we had been out till 4 in the morning and rather go to sleep. I just stayed up and went fishing at 4:30 or whatever. And I got on this luau shirt and I got this floppy hat, like a bush hat, Long story short, I look like John Candy in the goddamn thing in that movie, The Great Outdoors. And I'm like, really? I couldn't have had one of my nice fishing shirts on and everything. I look like I weigh 400 pounds and the hat. I just look dumpy, and it's like, oh my god, I look terrible. It's like embarrassing, really. Till the fish comes in the boat, then it's pretty cool. But anyhow, I'll definitely do some fishing videos on here. We can throw them in. I do a lot of walleye fishing. Uh, I like musky fishing. I can do it right off my pier. Matter of fact, we had a couple guys this year catch. One was 48, and the other was just like right at 50, right off my pier. Um, my pier seems to be the hot spot on the lake. Fishermen come by, and I feel bad when I go to leave to go out fishing at night, and I'm pulling the boat out, and there's a line of boats drifting through to fish in front of my place. And I fire up that ginormous Mercury motor and ruin their fishing for the night. But what are you going to do? But yeah, so we'll get a lot of walleye fishing, and I'll get some muskie fishing. And I got a cool video from the other day. I thought it was a muskie, but it was a big northern. I shouldn't say big. He was just fat, chunky. And we were trolling at night, and he hammered it. And I got the release on tape, basically. I could throw that up. That'd be a good short, actually. So we'll throw that up there. When you don't Heil Whitmer, YouTube cuts your feed. Yeah, I lived in Michigan my whole life. All my family is here. It's sad how bad politics has ruined the state. Yeah, walleye are delicious. Catch and cook. They're the only fish I eat. I don't eat a lot of fish. I love shellfish. That's my favorite thing in the world. Anything: lobster, crab, shrimp, mussels, oysters, you name it. Crayfish. But when I do eat fish, it's walleye, fried only. And for whatever reason, if I catch them and clean them, I can't eat them the same day or even that week. I don't know why. It doesn't bother me with deer. I've done it. I've chopped a deer up literally in college on my kitchen table and thrown it in a frying pan right next to the carcass and ate it looking at them. But catch and cook, yeah. I release just about everything, almost everything. Once in a rare while, I'll keep a couple fish to fry up, but we release everything. The muskies too, the big ones, little ones, everything. I'll keep some crappie once in a while to eat too. Those are great. But yeah, not bad. Anyhow, I was showing you guys the target of that Savage Model 10. That's a bolt action Savage, inexpensive rifle. I told you the scope on it is a Millet Chinese scope. Wasn't intending to do it, but a few years ago it was a thing. 1,000 yards under $1,000, right? Can you hit at 1,000 yards with a setup that you spent less than $1,000 on? And I wasn't trying to do it, but that was my budget. And I didn't know crap about long distance anything at that time. And the scope was $280. It was a Millet. It's a company owned by Bushnell. And they're made in China. And I'll tell you what, I put it on the gun and I torqued everything, sighted it in, and it doesn't move, and it always works. And yeah, up top, I forget what it is. Maybe it's either 14, I think it's 24 or 16 power, maybe, variable. And it's got the lighted reticle and all the other stuff on it, the big open turrets and all. It looks really cool and tactical. It's got a sunshade, so the whole scope's about yay long, on a heavy barrel. My Model 10 was a tactical edition. So it's got the big round barrel knurled bolt handle, and it came with the rail pre-installed on the rifle. Heavy barrel. It's not threaded. My buddy Jake, if you look, I have a video shooting him, and me and my buddy Jake, he's got the exact same rifle. However, his is threaded for a suppressor, and he has fluted barrel. But And I'm trying to think. Model 10, I think, has changed. Like to take the bolt out of my gun, there's a button in front of the trigger guard I hit and pull it out and pull the trigger and pull it out. His has got a different style lever and everything. Like they changed the whole thing, even how the barrel's mounted. But it's still a Model 10. I don't know if there was a changeover or if there. I've also seen the Model 10 and then the 110, but they both have removable mags. We got the 10 round mags for them, which is cool. I haven't been able to find one of those since I lucked into them at Cabela's one day, and I've never been able to get another one from Savage anywhere. I've never seen them. Always sold out on their website. But anyhow, it's got the AccuStock and AccuTrigger. The gun itself is great. The millet up top, you start to get a lot of shadowing at the sides. It's kind of you got to be very precise on your eye relief and the eye box, your position on it at the higher powers, which I don't like. But other than that, I've got a monopod in the back, and it's just the thing shoots lights out. I mean, you can shoot fast and shoot groups under 1 MOA without trying much. I mean, it's a great rifle. I've shot a lot of rounds through it, and I pretty much hand loaded for the thing, other than the first 2 boxes of shells I put through it, and never really treated the barrel all that special, and it just shoots. If I put some real glass on it, I can't even imagine what I could do. I've shot it out to 300, but other than that, that's about it. I really enjoy it. I can only imagine what I'd really like a Leopold Mark V. And I'd probably put that on my 308 AR. Speaking of that, have any of you guys watched the T-Rex channel? They make holsters is how he got famous. It's a young kid started a business. It's a business sort of like Primary Arms or something like that. I forget what state they're located in, but I think it's called T-Rex channel. I can't remember the name of the holster he got famous for, but now he does a lot of training and different training videos, a lot of shooting videos, all AR stuff. Anyhow, they tested it. The video just came out a couple days ago. They tested the Aero Precision 308 or the AR-10. And it sounded like they didn't get it free from them. They bought it like any other person would. They didn't want them to know that it was a channel buying it and all. And they were going to do a 5,000 round test. Now that's an expensive test, right? With the ammo and a hard test to do. It's not like mag dumping 30 round mags of steel case, So they got to like 2,500 rounds before they called it. But they used pretty much aero parts on it and all. It had a couple failures early on. One, they broke a firing pin. So they had to get a replacement. And I've got a lot of these M4E1 receivers with the little set screws that hold in the not the mag catch, but the bolt release and all. And they said at about 2,000 rounds, it started walking out, but they hadn't Loctited it. They shot it as it came from the factory. They did not even lube the gun. And it was running perfectly fine at 2,500 rounds. The bolt, so they lost a firing pin. The screw was backing out a little. They put Loctite on it, stayed fine. Like I said, I probably have 8 of them. I've never had one even come loose, which is blue Loctite. They're great. Matter of fact, they come pre-Loctited from the factory. They put that paste stuff on the screws, so when you put it together, boom. And then when they suppressed it is when they ran into some problems. And I'm trying to think why they called it the final time. It had something to do with the extractor. The extractor pin broke on it. And the bolt carrier was not made by Arrow, which surprises me because Arrow makes a lot of stuff for other companies, big name, expensive companies. That's why I shoot Arrow, because a lot of what you get in an Arrow is what you get from these big, well-known, expensive companies, because it is Arrow. They're just making it for them, putting their name on it. But I was shocked to find out that their bolt in their AR-10, their bolt in, I think, the bolt carrier too. Maybe the carrier isn't just the bolts made by someone else, but I think it's both, is made by somebody else for them. Um, I've seen a lot of firing pins going down lately, uh, in multiple brands. And guys, in 20, well, in my entire life, but really since getting serious and a channel and all this, I haven't seen a firing pin break on an AR my entire career, my entire life. I've never seen a firing pin break until a couple of months ago, when a good friend of mine's brand new, actually, it was a Palmetto State. I think it was a 300 blackout, but an AR-15 bolt carrier, and his firing pin broke. Now the one on this Arrow Precision AR-10 broke, and I've heard of a couple others on other brands. The funny thing is, I think there's certain things that are supplied to the entire industry by only one or two places that make this, and firing pins are made by a couple companies, and I wonder if that company is not the one to blame for all of these lately, with supply chain issues and worker turnover and all of that. I wonder if whoever and whatever this company is that's making firing pins for the entire industry is having problems. I'm not even sure if firing pins are one of those things where there's one supplier for the whole damn industry, or two maybe, or if everybody makes their own. But um, I'd almost be willing to bet it is one or two, and I'll bet if somebody looked into it, they get traced back to one place. Because come on, 40 years, I don't hear of a firing pin breaking. At least not firsthand or even secondhand. There may have been one over the years I heard about or read about somewhere, but never seen it. And then all of a sudden in the last year, I see 4 or 5 of them. That's kind of strange. Anyhow, they quit the test after that. It was like, okay, well, you're talking about a bolt right now, and I guess that's something he said, oh, you can't repair that out in the field. Well, I don't know about you, but if I had a oops kit or a spare parts kit, I mean, I would always have a firing pin with me if I'm doing anything serious, go to war, life depending on it kind of thing. You'd always have a firing pin in your kit. You'd always have the little pins and the springs and all that. So yeah, maybe on the battlefield you couldn't repair it, but if you were to go back to base or back to uh, your camp, whatever, you'd be able to repair that no problem. It's not like a carrier cracked or something like that. I don't know. To me, they shot this gun hard and well, and it shot really accurate. They changed it up a few times in the video, um, kind of different variants. They went from a red dot with a magnifier to voodoo scope to Leopold Mark V, all different variants, right? And it shot so well. And this kid handles a gun really well. This kid can run a gun, let me tell you. Watch the video. He's fast with it. He did have a lot of recoil. He said second shots, he was hitting about 30% of when he's doing double taps, 30% of the second shot were staying on target. The rest were going over. But I'm thinking, boy, you should have my buffer and buffer spring set up with that M5 buffer tube. and you'd have 100% of those double taps on the target. That gun runs really, really smooth. They had a fixed um non-adjustable gas block on it, and I have an adjustable gas block. I set it the first time we ran the gun, and it's stayed there ever since. It's a JP on that one. And the more I run these adjustable gas blocks, the more I'd like to get away from them. Not that they've screwed up, but it's just one more thing in the back of my head to worry about. And I'd really like to get rid of them. I may go to a fixed gas block on this and see how it runs. I think it'd run just fine, but we'll see. Anyhow, I really like that AR-10, my arrow. And they made it out to be like, well, this wouldn't be our battle rifle of choice or our go-to or go to war. Okay, maybe not. There's a lot of other stuff out there. Like I'd probably do a Scar personally. I just can't afford a Scar. There was one time I was very close to, for about 6 month period, I was going to buy one, and now they're just out of reach. And I wanted an FN one built uh, in Europe. I didn't want the one built here just because over the years I found the collectability with those with anything FN comes from when it's made over the pond. That may or may not hold true with these, but I guarantee you one day the ones made in Belgium will be worth more than the ones made here. Guaranteed. I think that's already starting to show in some of the auctions, but I'd really like a Scar. I would love one. And I was so close. God, I should have bought it. I turned a couple down. Used ones, just nickel and like being too picky on them. I should have bought one. I don't know. Maybe I still will. But that would be my go-to. I could always do the FN. I have the FN FAL, but that gun's too long, too heavy, very unwieldy. I don't like the optic mounts on it, and it's not all that conducive to mounting optics. Although it's got a nice bipod and all. It's the original Belgian, full size with the long flash hider and everything. It's a cool gun. I got a video on it. Take a look. But that wouldn't be a go-to gun. I think the Scar would probably be the best choice in 308 out there right now. What do you guys think if you had to pick a battle rifle? One that maybe would feel like a DMR role. Would you take an AR-10? Just maybe Armalite or somebody? I don't know. I think that arrow, let's face it, the receivers, handguards, stocks, buffer tubes, all that stuff, nothing's happening to that, right? Great stuff. It's all in spec. Things are it used to be that building an AR-10 between the two different types, things didn't mismatch or could mismatch, and different manufacturers, things didn't work with others. And, not just from a standpoint of being a DPMS or AR-10, but just from the specs were all different from each company. Well, now they've kind of standardized, and especially with Arrow. I mean, you can buy everything and it's just there. It works. So because a bolt went down, and it's like he said, it's a test of one gun. I don't have a ton of rounds through mine. Maybe I should, and I think we will shoot it more. If I had the optic thing figured out on that, I'm still kicking around what to do. I'm so indecisive lately. I don't know. I built it. It's 16-inch barrel. I built it as like a carbine, but to be in a DMR roll because of the caliber. And the 16-inch barrel is cool, and with a nice optic on there, hey. But 16-inch, I kind of want to do the red dot. I could put an EOTech on it with a magnifier. I could put I have a LPVO on it right now, but the cheapest, shittiest 1x4 you can put on it. If I put a decent one on there, it'd be nice. Or like a Night Force or a Mark V, uh, or that GLX I have on the DMR AR-15. That 2.5 by 10 really would almost be perfect on that in a DMR roll. Put the 2.5 by 10 on there, and then put a little reflex sight red dot on the side, like either on an angle mount or put it directly above the scope on a mount. And why I say that is I heard a guy would make a great point. Let's say you're scanning for a target, you're on 10 power, and you're looking for a target at 400 or 500 yards, right? And you put the gun down, you can see it, but when you put that rifle up, oh, where'd he go? You're trying to find him at 10 power, and your field of vision isn't that wide. And with a red dot directly above it, you could find him in the red dot and then move the rifle straight up, and he's probably in your line of sight, right? I think that'd be great on that gun, but I'm not talking like a full-size red dot, a tiny, or like RMR or whatever. I think that'd be cool on that gun. And the more I think about it, I think that 2.5 by 10 is a perfect scope for that, because at 2.5, it's like shooting a prism, a 3-power prism on an AK. In a pinch, it can be used for CQB, because 2.5, I can still, or 3-power, I can still shoot 2 eyes open. It's not the greatest, but you can. And at 2.5, even better, more so. But that's a perfect scope. A 2.5 by 14 on that rifle would be nice. 10 leaves me wanting a little bit on that at some of the longer yardages. But man, if that bolt was a one-off thing, what's wrong with the gun as a battle rifle? Think about it. What's wrong with it? And again, that gun shoots super tight MOA groups. And that's with a Faxon barrel. Not a stainless, just one of their nitrided, but good barrel. I love fat guys. If you're, looking at barrels, looking around, and there's a ton of brands out there, right? And they always say, put your money in the barrel. Well, they say this, they were saying, well, we built this gun out for about $1,200. I don't know how you do that. The bolt carriers are well over 200. You buy a builder's kit. Now, granted, this one was custom Cerakoted and all. It was like $500-600. It's half the gun right there. Then you throw a barrel on. What are you going to spend? $200 on a barrel? I mean, an entry-level barrel is $100, $200. And that's all this is. Maybe I paid $200. Now, that's in old dollars, I guess. But, by the time you get done with a bipod and a muzzle brake and optics, and there's no way you're doing a $1,200 gun. It's not a cheap gun, but it's not scar money. And what's wrong with it? I think it can be trustworthy enough to be in any scenario, really, as long as that bolt held up. Now, that's a big what if, but the bolt and carrier held up. It was a pin, and he said, frankly, he thinks that pin, something happened to it from either brass or something getting in there. They didn't realize it, and they ran it then till it broke because of that. Who knows? I don't know that they know. As a matter of fact, when they came up with this reason, I'm like, how do you know? You can't look at it and say, oh, it looks like this broke it. I mean, the pin's this short, and now it's in 2 pieces. You got 2 halves. How can you say, well, this might have got in there? And you just can't. They're guessing. But that being said, again, I mean, extractors wear out. You're at 2,500 rounds in a rifle that it's got some punch to it. I mean, they're known You can call it an optic wrecker. There's a lot of optics that just won't hold up to AR-10. Uh, I don't know. I think that rifle would be just fine. I've never had it jam. It runs fabulously. They didn't even lube the thing for 2,500 rounds, ran it dry. Uh, and I'm trying to think, was it Cerakoted? No, it was not. I think it was just anodized from the factory, I think. No lube. And he did spray paint it at one point. But yeah, Galil Ace in 308. Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a great choice, actually. It's hard to go wrong with a Galil Ace, man. IWI, guys, they build real stuff, man. Everything they build is battle worthy. Every bit of it. I love my X95. God, I love shooting that thing. It's the more I shoot it, the more I like it. Scars are overpriced, 15,600, 16. I tend to agree, but I think it's hard to say 1,600 when any old AK now is, 1,500. I don't know. That's still FN. Cold Hammer 4s, that gun's put together pretty damn well. FN built some nice stuff. I think here's what I think it is. I think it's a $2,500 rifle, but it's not a $4,000 rifle. No. Yeah, I agree it's overpriced. I just don't think it's that cheap. Knights SR25. Not familiar with it, but I will take a look at it this week. Could not get a job. Torian. So did you seriously try to get a job at an adult bookstore? I don't know if that'd be a good job or not. Probably not, because it'd be like one of the screenplays for an adult movie, right? In the adult movie, the screenplay works out where you're like, I'd like that job. But in real life, here we go. Connection unstable again. Did I say anything? Did Toothless Crackhead stop it? I don't know. Not knocking the AR, but I'm more interested in other platforms and not downing the AR. Yeah, I am too. But at the end of the day, there's still the rifle of choice in this country, at least. And when you I guess there's never anything to run out of things to do with the platform. But like me, for instance, I love AKs first and foremost. And when you study and you learn and you do and you build and you you got to break it up at points, So you move into, okay, let's build some ARs. And then you get bored with that. And okay, let's build an AR-10. All right, now let's backtrack and let's do some Israeli stuff. And you do that. And then you say, oh man, I really, old Grands are getting kind of real. Let's go do that. And you got to jump around a little bit, but you always come back to the favorites. And or in each platform, you develop a favorite that you like to shoot, And then when you've been there, done that, then it's like, hey, well, what do you experiment with next? Let's start trying to tweak these rounds and the ammo. And then, okay, you've done that. So you get away from the reloading and you jump back in whatever. There's always something new. I don't do much with pistols, in case you haven't noticed. It's not that I don't like them. I love them. I just find rifles so much more intriguing. But a lot of stuff, one thing that always pisses me off, though, I love them, but 1911s. It's like if you get a good solid 1911, the gun runs, you enjoy it, and then you say, well, let's start messing with this. And the minute you do, everything friggin' goes haywire, right? Um, and I've got some trick guns that run very well, but 1911 is always that platform that can be so satisfying and or be so frustrating. And it's with any platform when you tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak, you always seem to get to a point where you took something you love and now it's just a frustrating mess. And I'm not saying like building out one rifle or something. It just, God, you gotta, it's better to stay with or close to the platform as it came. When you start going too deep, you're trying to take one platform and make it another, or take this platform and make it that, but without that. You got to stick to what the platform was originally meant to do within reason. You know, I get it. It's fun to see what the limits are, but pushing the limits leads to frustration, and that's where I've kind of been lately. I don't know, just ideas I come up with, things I want to do, things I do end up in just throw it in a box in the corner, a pile of parts, kind of thing. But yeah, Galil Ace is a good call on that organ. Really good call. Tavor 7 has my eye. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and DB if money wasn't a thing. So yeah, anytime it says knights on it, right? Big dough. Oregon, same here, man. I've been thoroughly impressed with my X95. I have too, and the more you shoot it, I guess when you get it, you think, okay, it's a bullpup, and it's my first bullpup, and I'm gonna see how these things are. And you're expecting this shitty trigger. Who was it? I think it was the AK guy, Brandon Herrera, who said essentially a coat hanger attached to a Mosin Nagant trigger. I forget what bullpup he was talking about, but he hates bullpups, and that's why. He's like, everyone I've ever shot is essentially a bent coat hanger attached to a Mosin Nagant trigger. And that was very true of the original Tavor. But the X95, they've greatly improved it. And then there's a bunch of aftermarket triggers too that are fabulous. But frankly, that stock X95 trigger is not a bad trigger. And you get used to the manual of arms real quick. It's so darn compact and fast to maneuver. It doesn't need much maintenance at all, even when it's filthy. And it's just well thought out. All the rail in the world you want is there. And you can leave the hand covers on one side and off the other or whatever. Even the factory sights are great. At first I thought they stick up, they're so thin, they'll get broken. But man, I threw that Holosun 510C on there. And God, I love that gun. And it just plunks them in. And the recoil is so mild. And it's not until you've been shooting it for a while that one day you'll be at the range and you hold it out and you go, God, I'm like shooting an SBR that needs no paperwork, is way more accurate and more comfortable. You can hold the damn thing all day long because the weight's on your shoulder. You can hold it with one hand. You can shoot it really easily with one hand, and stable and steady too. It's like the linkage on an old manual trans. Yes, like an old rock crusher, trying to get in reverse, slamming it over, trying to get through the gate that's all gooped up on GOP. And yeah, it's crazy. I went down the 1911 rabbit hole at a young age. I think I forgot how bad it was since I want to get back into them. Yeah. I've been thinking about torturing myself with a 2011, and then I'm thinking, why would I want to do that when you got so many good guns? I really like the M17 or 320, whatever you want to call it. they're getting sued again. Did you see that big lawsuit out? With all kinds of police departments, FBI, everybody jumping on board. Um, is there something to it? I don't know. I noticed one thing over the last 40 years, and that's whenever there's a negligent discharge, whoever did it or it happened to, the first thing they say is, I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't do it. It went off all by itself. Every single time. Every time it went off all by itself. I don't know. I know SIG, a lot of guys say they have a reputation of using the general public as their R&D department. But there's a lot of companies that do that. I mean, look at what Palmetto State did with their AKs. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the 365, remember it dragging on the primers or something? I don't know. I have one. It's never done that. I've got a 320 now. Mine's a manual safety. And I don't shoot it as anywhere near as much as a law enforcement officer would or something, but well, maybe I do actually. But I don't know. I mean, they won their other cases. Could there be something hidden that 8 million prying eyes and testers and scientists and engineers and SIG and safety groups and prosecutors and everybody else couldn't find? I don't know. I just don't know on that one. But I don't think I'm trying to rack the memory banks here and see if I can ever remember a gun that had a serious issue like that where they didn't figure it out, if it really existed. They figured it out. You would think after all of this they'd have something, but it's just not there. I don't know. Not saying they're wrong or they're lying or anything. I don't know. That's how this disease goes. Yes, it does. It does. But yeah, I'm glad you're impressed with the X95 too. Another guy that's always in here is very impressed with his too. I haven't seen him in a while. Where's Tommy Guns been? He's not been in here quite a while. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Ross, you hit it on the head. It's like a linkage on the old manual transmission. But isn't it the best description? Actually, I think I came up with the Mosin Nagant part. I can't remember what he said, but it's essentially a bent up rusty coat hanger attached to a Mosin Nagant trigger, because we all know how friggin' whack those Mosin Nagant triggers are. Just makes me laugh. The 320 probably has gone off without anyone touching the trigger. There's a video of a guy who holstered his 320 and it went off. His hands were up like they do in competition. So he holstered it, put his hands up like they're ready, and then it went off. Huh. Could be holsters too, What do most of these holsters index off of? Kydex and everything. Trigger guard, right? Very easy for a holster to be honest. I always watch that. I buy a holster. The first time I put it in that holster, it's not sitting on my living room sofa. Trust me. Because you can put it in unloaded and everything seems fine. And then you put it in. I don't know. That's to this day, guys will be like, "Oh, why'd you put a manual safety on your 365? Oh, why'd you buy the M17 with the manual safety?" Because I'm not pointing anything at my junk and sticking it in my pants. I'm just not without a manual safety. I'm sorry. First of all, I don't appendix carry hardly at all ever. But I'm just not comfortable with it. I don't know. Call me old school. Call me a FUD, which I'm obviously not. But it's just one of those personal choices. Plus, I grew up on a 1911. I don't know. I don't know. It just freaks me out. I would like the Glock a lot more with safety in it. Oh, you'll forget it. I don't ever forget it. When you're raised on 1911, it's just natural. That's the first thing that happens. Um, he was in a competition when it happened with dozens of witnesses. Boy, I'd like to see that. Hey, 2A EDU. What do you guys say? What's going on, man? It was not the holster. It was one of the open competition type holsters. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm not saying it was the holster. I'm just saying, that could very well be one of the things, They all index off a trigger guard, and um, who knows? Ever went to put a gun in, I don't know, you got a bunch of holsters. Like if you're like me, you got a drawer full of holsters or a laundry basket full of holsters, and you grab one and you think it's that, you stick it in and it goes in, but it's not right. And who knows what happens. Uh, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying it's not happening, but God, you think that with all these experts looking at them, they could say, here's what it is. Here's what's causing it. Okay, maybe it's 1 in 100 guns end up with more material left somewhere, not enough material somewhere. Maybe a sear's off, maybe a pin pinholes are off, and it slips off. Who knows? But you'd think somebody, because they obviously have the guns it happened to. If you took 2 or 3 of them together and figured out, hey, what do these all have in common, or what don't they have in common, or whatever. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say, but it sure would be nice to know. I don't know. Has anybody know if it's happened with any with a manual safety, but just with the safety not on? I don't know. I'm just curious. Curious. It just seems like this is same old, same old. Here's another lawsuit, and we still haven't figured it out, and SIG still hasn't had to pay the piper that I know of. Ross, you also have to wonder how many of those guns did not have the trigger system replaced under the recall. What did they do in that recall on the trigger? Anybody know? They don't have a traditional firing pin blocker plunger like most striker fire pistols do. You think about that. I've had my slide off them about 500,000 times, and I don't know if I've noticed, and that'd be very unlike me not to notice. But I can't picture it in my head right now. Matter of fact, when I get off this video, I'm going to take a look at it. Interesting. Talking about problems with guns. So I told you guys I got a problem with my Sam 5. Still haven't done anything with it. But yeah, that gun shot, essentially. The bolts beat itself to death so bad. And I got to call Arsenal. But let's talk about scorpions for a second. So you guys have all seen the videos with scorpions firing out a battery. And they figured it out now, but I don't know. I figured it out a long time ago when there were still, I was reading on Reddit about, oh, this is happening. Why is this happening? And da 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 da. And I didn't post anything because I don't go into forums other than AK forums, really. And when I do stumble on something, I read a little and I'm on to the next. But my first Scorpion, which was the standard pistol. I shot that gun a lot and take it apart and clean it. And I'm looking at the bolt, and man, there's a big wear mark in the finish, Okay, no big deal. But then I'm looking at the firing pin block, and there's a plunger, and that plunger goes down the hole. Well, where it runs over, where the bolt runs over uh, the hammer or the little lever there that pushes that block up. The metal on the bolt is soft enough that it smeared the metal over. So essentially, you've got the channel that firing pin block plunger is riding in, and it's taken the bolt metal and smeared it partially over the top of that channel. So the firing pin block goes down in it, that metal smeared over, it can't pop back out. So essentially, that firing pin block is always in a position that says, I can fire. And, originally guys were blaming it on bump firing, and it was always seemed to happen when someone was just firing it extremely fast or bump firing it or whatever. And boom, and the side of the receiver would blow open from an out of battery detonation. And that can easily happen. That firing pin plunger gets blocked, and the guy's just squeezing, however, and the round's almost chambered, and he squeezes, and boom, and blows it out. But guys for the longest time were, why is this happening? This isn't happening. Oh, it's reloads. Oh, it's this. It's bad ammo. It's shooting too fast. It's bump firing. It's all these things. And while they were all still talking about it, I'm looking at the thing. I'm like, there's the friggin' problem. I mean, their bolts are too soft, and that metal's coming over. Mine was stuck in, period. I just got lucky that it didn't happen to me. So I just removed that extra metal there that had been smeared over it and got it moving right. What you need to do is what I did. I took a file and just beveled in the whole edge, nice and even all around it. Just put a little bevel on it. Now, there's a company that's come out with replacement aftermarket bolts for it that are harder and solve the problem and all that. But you think CZ would have a recall to replace these things. And as far as I know, they'll fix them. You can send the gun in and they'll fix them. But they haven't come out with a new bolt for the thing. I don't know if the new ones are still doing it. I've got my micro that doesn't have as many rounds on it, and it hasn't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to. But do I really have to go spend $250 or $300 on a bolt for each one of these when CZ should be paying for it? That's kind of shitty. And there's the problem. And though any of them that have blown the sides out, they've taken care of. But that's dangerous. Why not fix the problem? Why not have a recall and send the bolt? I mean, my God. I asked them when I called, they pretty much blew me off. This was before the solution was out there on the internet, just before, a little bit, maybe a few months. And I told them about the problem in an email. And they essentially, I told them what was happening and why. And can I just send you a bunch of pictures and all? And you tell me, yeah, send me the bolt and we'll send you a new one. I didn't want to send the whole gun in. That's why I'm holding off on this SAM 5 thing, because I know what they're going to tell me. And I hate sending guns in. I know 2AEDU had a really good experience with his Galil or Gali or whatever it was. That was a Hebrew hammer, wasn't it? Well, not the Hebrew hammer, but it was an Israeli Galil kit build, right? By who was that? It was a major company that built them, I think, and then sold them through, Sweaty Ben, right? But anyhow, that's all I wanted was, let me send you my bolt and send me and exchange it and send it back. And they wouldn't do it. And I just, at that point, I thought, well, I'll wait for them to figure it out and they'll come out with something. But they haven't. Yeah. JRA. Yeah. By Classic. And JRA builds some nice stuff. That gun's really nice looking. I'm upset I missed out on that one. I should have done it. You can still get it. I think I saw one, but you can't get those options. I was looking at with the bayonet lug, the wood handguard, that kind of stuff. Because I'd do it. You did it the right way. That's set up. That's the right gun. And when I looked at those other ones, that option was not available anymore. Maybe they'll come out with some more. I don't know. But it's a good way for the money. How do you beat that? You know? I've got a friend now at DSA, good friend whose brother works there, and another guy I know has a connection there, but this guy works there. So you may see some cool stuff coming out of there here on the channel pretty soon. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But firearms industry has been plagued with crappy QC and lack of accountability for dangerous guns. Yeah, really, that's putting it bluntly and to the point. That Scorpion, and here, it didn't take a rocket scientist to look. I took one look at that bolt and went, holy crap, And I went, there's the problem. Mine can't be a one-off deal when this is happening all over. And frankly, I was just lucky it didn't happen. Because those guns, they run forever. You can get them. Man, when I clean that thing, it's so gunked up, you have no idea. I got to pull everything out of it, the extractor, everything to get in every corner. I mean, it's layered. And so if you're not pulling it down and taking a look at it, these guys don't know, and they're firing away and blammo. And how do you shoot those guns? Fast and furious, right? That's why they're so much fun. Yeah, it's a shame. There's no reason that that should be like that. Guys say, well, they're cheap and crappy. Okay, well, they're a polymer shell, but hey, the gun works, man. It's used by a lot of militaries. It's used by a lot of protection teams and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's not, some little fly by night, little sub gun like the KG9 was sort of, I don't know, company like CZ that makes firearms that are as nice as they build. I'm just shocked they wouldn't stand behind it when it's a simple fix. Is it the money? I don't know. I mean, you would think CZ could afford to replace some bolts, To my knowledge, nobody's been seriously killed or maimed by one. So they don't have that to worry about, but I don't know. Yeah, I know you got a DSA Hebrew hammer. That's such a great looking gun. It's another one. I just when I saw those come out, I should have jumped at it. There's just always too many too fast. It seems when the good stuff's coming out, it's just flying out. There's just so much. Blah, here it is, and here you go. I'll take that. I'll grab that. No, save. Oh, I gotta get that. No, I can't get that right now. And whenever it can never come out at that easy pace that matches your checkbook, right? It all comes at you at one time. That's the problem. Chase, mine got the lighter, thinner trigger with the recall, several thousand rounds since, and no issues yet. They don't have the firing safety pin and plunger. At least my X-Compact does not. Look at all those Remingtons that would fire when the safety was engaged. Was that the 700? I know they had trigger problems with their 700 rifles for a while. They recalled them all. Wouldn't you know? I went to buy one right when that hit. When I bought my Savage 10, as a matter of fact, I was going in to get 700 tactical, And the guy says, "Can't sell you one." I'm like, "What do you mean? You got it's right there." He's like, "Nope, can't sell you one." He hands me this recall paperwork. I'm like, "Wouldn't you know my luck?" So I ended up with the Savage. Uh, all in all, would I rather have the 700? Probably. Um, but got the Savage. Oh well. Shoots well. Just doesn't seem I don't know. Those 700s with some of those over molded stocks and all those were nice. Uh, yeah, your wood handguards. That gun just looks right. Without the wood handguard, I don't even want the gun. And yeah, I guess I could find a handguard, right? Maybe somewhere, or are they that rare? I don't know. Yeah, the DSA hammer is awesome. It does all come out at once, then quickly disappears. Yep. It's not like one or two guns. It's like they're putting this out and they're putting this out and they're putting this out. And it's, oh, God, you can't turn fast enough, you know? Yeah, 700 series. The issue wasn't fixed for really. It was that long. I thought it was, and I never paid attention much to those guns, but I thought that was like um, some change they had made or a batch that had come out or something. I didn't realize that had been going on forever. I've got a 700 that was my dad's. His deer rifle, 30-06 from the late 70s, early 80s, 700 BDL with a high comb Monte Carlo stock, Redfield 3x9. And God, we've used that gun deer hunting, elk hunting, everything for, well, since about 79. 89, 99, 2009. This is, wow, 40 years. And I had never even heard of it till that recall. But then again, it wasn't, one of those bolt guys. There were cases of it happening in the 50s, and Remington didn't recall back then. The wood handguards are very rare and very expensive. Okay. It wasn't that bad an upgrade, though, was it? Was it $50 maybe? $100? I don't know. Didn't seem bad. I thought, yeah, I want that one. Sure enough, sold out. I love the markings on that gun. It's so cool. They did, for guys, if you haven't seen one of his videos showing that gun when he first got it and then when he sent it back, and seemed like everything worked out great with that. But in the video, he shows all the markings on it. It's just such a cool gun. So cool. The issue came and went over a 60-year period is a better way to phrase it. Okay. So I wonder if it was like a sear issue or, where just the slightest angle difference or something like that. The public is SIG's R&D department. Yeah, that's like I said. And really, really cool video out. And I know 2AEDU has a video out on it too, because he got to go tour the factory at PSA, if not once, maybe twice. But what's his name from Military Arms Channel put out a video with another guy that he does videos with. Sometimes they do like a tabletop forum thing, talking back and forth. And they got invited to the factory. And at the beginning of the video, they both say, we had this idea of what we were going to see. And while neither of them thought they were going to some small little shop behind some guy's garage, they just didn't have this mind's eye picture of PSA being what it is. And while he did start the business in his garage, it's turned into something just way beyond what they could even imagine. Now, I haven't been there, but they just thought like some small little manufacturer, not small, but not monstrous, South Carolina, whatever. But obviously, when you think about what they've done, or for that matter, just visit their website, everybody's, well, I hope everybody's heard about his uh, sort of mission, and that was to arm every American with an AR-15. Put one in everybody's hands, every household, every whatever. And the thought process being, if there's enough of them out there and enough people have them, then it's so common that it can never be outlawed, right? I heard him say that or read him saying that in an interview several times. Anyhow, in order to do that with the AR-15, obviously it's not being done in some tiny little shop. You've got uppers, you've got lowers, you've got all these things. And some people think, well, maybe he's buying parts from here, parts from there. And at some points he was sourcing them from other companies, but you run into issues, not just, COVID supply chain issues, but just in the general course of business, you run into a supply chain issue. Well, what would he do? He'd go buy that company or start a company that does X. Oh, we can't get um, triggers. Well, we'll buy a company. Anodizing is slowing our receivers down. Well, let's set up an anodizing line. And when you think about it, yes, ARs were his thing for a long time and what he built the business on. But think about how long now the AK thing has been going on with them and how many generations of. And I started to say that, kind of like what people say about SIG, a lot of people will argue that PSA kind of did the same with the AK through its generations. And it's been fine for a long time. But back when they were, cast trunnions and experimenting and changing and doing and barrels and then FN barrels and then on and on. But my point being, it was, yeah, the ARs built the business, but think about how many individual platforms he has going on right now. Got the AR thing, and God only knows how many tens of thousands of SKUs they have in their AR product lineup. Not just rifles or uppers or lowers, but parts and barrels and this and that, handguards and on and on. And it's not like someone like Primary Arms, where sure they have 300 handguards, but they're all made by 30 different companies. Well, yeah, they sell stuff from other companies, but PSA has and makes their own handguards 72 ways to Sunday. So not only the AR, then the AK, then now you've got what? You've got the Rock pistol, the 5.7. You've got their Glock clone or close to. There's other projects coming out too that they're working on. Just on and on and on. All these things, and they're all great platforms. They all work phenomenally. A lot of people say that Rock is the 5.7 to buy. You got the FN, you got the Ruger, you've got the Rock. And they're saying ergonomically and everything that the Rock's the pistol to buy. I won't doubt it. I haven't seen one personally and held one up close, but the reason I bought the Ruger, I wanted the FN. I went in to buy the FN. I wanted it because to me, that was the pistol to have. FN developed it. FN had it, then you can get the rifle, and that's the package, right? But when I picked up that Ruger, and then I picked up the FN, and I'm like, this FN makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, everything's so wonky as far as position of everything on it. I'm like, this Ruger, to me, it felt better in my hand. Everything was more intuitive. It, I bought the Ruger. I had them both sitting there. They had a new FN, and I want to say at the time he was asking somewhere around 1,500 for that. This was like 650 for the Ruger. And then he had a used FN for like 900 bucks. And the used FN was mint, original box, everything. And I was going to buy the used one. It was essentially new or used, unused, And I thought, well, that's what I just couldn't see it because I couldn't see shooting it. It's just that weird. And now guys say that rock is the pistol to have. So they've got all these things going on. They could not get over the enormity of this place. Just they said it went on and on and on. And then the warehouses, the shipping departments, where they've got all the products on the shelves to the ceiling, and it all just runs. They just put in a new anodizing line, and it just keeps going. The coolest thing I heard in the interview was that they have 3 years, and he didn't quite clarify it, but I believe they didn't only have three. First, he said they have 3 years worth of forgings for ARs on the shelf, ready to go. Should there be a major stoppage in supply chain? 3 years worth of forgings to build ARs and all the other things that go along with it. And then he said they have 3 years worth of, it sounded like raw materials, but I'm pretty sure it's probably a combo of the two. But basically, they went on to say that, yeah, should anything go to hell in a handbasket, they've got 3 years worth of materials to produce ARs with. And the cool thing is they serve the public before law enforcement and military. In fact, he doesn't even want law enforcement and military contracts. He's all about the general public, the civilian first and foremost. And just the way it all came out, you almost wondered what he meant by that. Maybe it was the way he was telling it, or maybe it's what he meant. Like, if things really kicked into gear politically and maybe, let's say, tyrannically, that, hey, there's a source here for we the people. Now, that could easily be shut down in about half a millisecond, I would imagine, especially being on the East Coast. But it's neat to see a business like that and an ideology and an owner thinking that way, right? And here's the other thing he touched on. So PSA has always been known, or had that stigma of, it's the poverty pony, or they're just not quite as good, or they won't hold up, or whatever the case may be. But he said when he saw the QC in every department at so many places throughout the process and the measuring devices, I watched there's an Italian shotgun maker that probably has the best QC of any company in the world. With the computer run with the little balls on the pins that touch all the points to check dimensions of everything. He's got it. He said by far the best QC he's ever seen anywhere in the world, even amongst military arsenals, in Europe, here, everywhere. He said he would put them, it's better than any he has seen anywhere. That if, it's a funny thing here in the US. If it doesn't cost a shit ton of money, somehow we just think it's junk, right? And I think that's kind of what happened there. and partially maybe at least in the AK side, some of the initial growing pains, right? Or flat out problems they had. Um, but they always took care of things. But that stigma, I'd use a joke, but it wouldn't be cool right now. But you do something once and you're forever labeled whatever. Um, and in this case, he said absolutely not true, and that he was going to go and uh, do a bunch of testing with some of them, build an AR, this and that. And it made me look completely different at it. I've got a friend that I had just gotten into guns, and I've been taking him to the range a whole bunch and shooting with him, helping him out. He's absorbing stuff like a sponge and reading, watching, doing on his own. And everything he owns, he's stuck in ARs right now. He's AR, AR, AR. I'm getting a new upper. I'm getting this lower. I'm going to do this one. I want this one with that handguard, that barrel length. I want a 300 blackout. Stuck in ARs. I said, dude, stop. Okay, you like PSA? And they're all PSA, all of them. I'm like, okay, you like that? Get one of their AKs. Branch out, give yourself something before you get burned out and you're bored with it or something. Just anything. Buy anything. Buy a pistol, a shotgun, anything. But not another AR, my God. Anyhow, he's been shooting his 308 is as accurate as anything. His ARs have held up great. If anything, he's hampered or was hampered in the optics department a little bit. But other than that, and that was one of the guns with the firing pin issue, broke it on the 300 blackout right away. I think he had hardly almost nothing for a round count and broke it. But and I was kind of like, well, yeah, it's PSA. What do you want? Not trying to diss his gun or anything because he's new. I don't want to diss his gun, but that was the first thing that crossed my mind, right? Now I watch this video and I think there's a whole lot more there. And obviously there's that crowd, the fanboys, but I think there's a whole lot more there than the rest of the public thinks. And we all may be missing out on a whole lot. It's definitely something. I have one thing from PSA, and it's an upper, a complete upper I bought, just a shorty. It's set up like a commando, shorty commando. It's on an AR pistol, and I can't say anything bad about it. I mean, it's finished extremely nicely. It works. I've got it on an arrow lower right now, and the gun just runs. I can't say anything bad about it. And I like looking at 2AEDU's AK. The fit and finish and the finish on that gun, I'm like, God, this thing is gorgeous. They showed them hand fitting the wood and everything. And I know I don't think I've watched his whole video on the one 2AEDU did, but it's really got me thinking. And we're going to have to put something together with that. Just see what comes of it, kind of like 2AEDU did with his Taurus pistols. I think he went into that thinking, who knows what's going to come out of this. And he didn't necessarily think it was going to be a good thing. But all of a sudden he's like, man, this thing's pretty nice. And you know what? It runs and runs and it feels good. And I love it. And it shoots. And now, he's a walking poster boy for Taurus, and for good reason. But yeah, this PSA, what an interesting video. So I'd run over to 2AEDU, watch his, and then go over to Military Arms Channel and check his out. Pretty interesting. Really, probably, finally, I was like, God, finally something to watch. There's been so much or not enough out there. Everything's been not Second Amendment, but just all these lawsuits coming down the pipe. And it's just constant that and no gun content. like next to zero. No testing, no this. It's hard to find gun reviews right now. It's all talk. It's like me now here talking. It's all that. It's hard to find a shooting, reviewing gun video right now. Has been for months. And it was so refreshing to see something like that. And to see something interesting. Maybe it's just I'm so sick of this. Not that it never stops, but it's this barrage on the Second Amendment has just been unbelievable for the last few years now, and continues to be. Got the Michigan assault weapon ban coming down the pipes. You got the Illinois one, you got the Oregon one, on and on. Guys, it all starts at that state level. You need to be involved. That's more important than the federal level. It really is. It's where you can make the most change for sure. Because, yeah, you can call, you can write, you can email, you can do all those things. You could go visit them. But at the end of the day, you're going to make more change closer to home. So you really need to get involved, because that's how they're going to do it now. Sure, you got Bruin, but Bruin doesn't stop it. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. And they'll come up with workarounds. They'll get a judge that sets precedent on something, even though it's totally off base. And yeah. And even if it's all found later to be unconstitutional, it's all that time. And what happens in the interim? If you're in Oregon, you can't do anything right now. They jump the gun's so bad out there that this law goes into place, and they have nothing set up to get these permits out to people to buy a firearm. So essentially, nobody there can do anything. Now, there was the Attorney General had went and filed something saying, hey, can we hold off on this for a little while? Because he realized, crap, we're putting the cart before the horse here. But I hadn't heard yet today what happened there, because I was at work all day until I jumped on here. But yeah, there's so much happening. Stay close, stay tuned in, and be calling. Michigan, you got your work cut out for you. I know if there's a state that's been working hard, it's yours. But and people close at hand, like to ADU and all his listeners, and all the folks I've met through him in Michigan. Still can't get over that. I can't get over that someone like Whitner would get reelected. I thought for sure that was going away. It's just a sad state of affairs, but you can't give up. Got to keep going. That's what they want you to do. It's death by 10,000 cuts, right? They have a game plan. You got to hand it to them. They've got the game plan. They've got the funding. They've got the backing, and they just keep going. They don't stop. They are. You don't. When we have a win, it doesn't get them down in the least bit. They just push harder, and that's how we got to be. It's like the GOP. They need to start fighting like the Democrats do. You don't hear about them getting out the vote, because they've got that down, right? Whether it's legal, illegal, they're getting it done, right? But what are we doing about it? We're doing nothing, and they're doing nothing. If vote harvesting is legal in a state and they're doing it, well, if we can stop it, fine. But if you can't, you better do it better than they do. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm saying in a state where that's legal. They figured it out, while we still sit back in 1950 and play by the rules. And yeah, I realize that's part of being who we are. But I'm not saying break the rules, but play within them to the best of your ability. And we don't even do that. The GOP better get it together, and they better find these candidates that they can run, because some of the stuff they're running they can't win. I don't know where they find them, but man, Think about it. If a Whitmer can get elected, how bad must our candidates be that we can't get them? It's unbelievable, right? I don't know. Gort, I keep hearing gun content channels saying they have 2 strikes from YouTube. No kidding. Wow. I haven't heard that. I've heard that in the past, but I haven't heard it in a while. One time, a long time ago, Rob Ski had something like that. Many of them do. I might. Maybe I have to go check. I'm sure I would have got an email, or don't they send you an email? I think they just notify you in a section about your channel and your what you can do on your channel based on your subscriptions and whatnot. I had a buddy that was shocked when he went in there and went, "Wait a minute, what?" I don't know. Warnock won the Georgia Senate seat. Yeah, of course. What? Heard that today. Was pleased but not ready to celebrate yet, Ross. You wanted Warnock to win? Elon used to be the left darling. Now they demonize him. Yeah, and then you see him out there. Some people on the right are calling him the Antichrist and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't know on that. That's one of those where I have some trepidation. Don't know quite what to think just yet. Most gun tubers I know have strikes. I have been going through reviews behind the scenes with YouTube twice in the last week. Going through reviews, but yeah, we got to talk like this one I put out tonight. Basically a tabletop review on a Vepr with a short little shooting scene at the range. I have no idea why it's demonetized, even after human review. No idea. And they reference some part of the rules and you read, but it's so vague that I don't see anything wrong with it. Nothing. Not taking anything apart, not putting anything together. I don't know. I have no idea why it's demonetized. I just don't get it. Don't get it. Yeah, Georgia did screw up. They should have never ran him to begin with, but I don't know what choice they had before. I heard a few things, but yeah. But think about Warnock. Warnock got in. Look at Pennsylvania. How? What? I don't care what party you back. If he was on a ticket on the Republican side, how do you vote for him? You're a Democrat. How do you vote? A guy in Pennsylvania, he's like like an evil character out of a bad movie, a cartoon or something. Just unbelievable. Can't speak. Don't know if he's processing things. Herschel Walker's beating people and beating women. And I mean, on and on. It's crazy. Crazy. If you show you are at a safe range, I was, and I said I was there, it goes pretty far with the YouTube reviewers. If they can't see a safe place to shoot, they will assume you are not. Really? Huh. Yeah, well, you probably don't get the same review. I'm just trying to think. I mean, it's always at the same place. You can see the shooting benches behind me. You can see the windsock blowing, I think. I got to look at the thing again. So basically, you have to say where you're at. I think I did. I'm almost positive I said we're at the range today. Uh, Oregon 114 has me looking to relocate early next year. Yeah, I feel bad for you guys. They voted. That just shocks me. That's not like the government coming out and saying, hey, we're going to do this. The people voted. And I get it, Portland and all that, but my God, just crazy. I and it's Oregon, for Christ's sake. I mean, that's still get out off the coast and all, and that's a wild and woolly state. But look what they're doing. Look what California's doing to Idaho and Montana, and it's unbelievable. You're this close to losing it, guys. You're this close, and well, who knows? You're certainly one generation closer. For those of you that have young kids, I want you to remember one thing too. In your normal course of the day, when you talk about certain subjects and the kids are around, or you're sitting at dinner and you're talking about something that, let's say, a family that enjoys firearms family would do. You're talking about certain things. It doesn't even have to be guns. It can be any conservative topic or topic that you have a conservative viewpoint on. And you'll say something. Watch your kids' reaction or what they say to you when you say certain things. I'm not going to, there's so many things that can't even pinpoint one. But you'll hear something along the lines of, Dad, you can't do that anymore. Or, Dad, they don't say that. Or, Dad, they don't this. Or, what do you mean, Dad? That's not right. Or, however, maybe not even that direct or blatant a comment from the kids. But watch what they do. And it's then and there that you know that these processes, thought processes, ideals are being put in their heads, not just from teachers, but media, TV, everywhere. And you better take the time to slow down. And I'm not saying grab them and be, hey, what are you talking about? Where'd you get that from? That doesn't do it. Because these other sources have as much influence in their lives, even with good parents. They're still just, they're taught to trust their teachers and trust these people and trust those people. And you need to maybe not react in the moment, but maybe the next day have an activity, time period, or conversation to where you explain it to them and find out where it came from if you can, or maybe it's just a multitude of today's day and age that's hitting them. But whatever it be, make sure you clarify the right ideals and why what they're hearing, believe, or have thought is not right for all intents and purposes. Make sure you take that time, because they push the idea that mom and dad just aren't right. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. And you better make damn sure that you clarify that. Because just to say, because I said so, or because we're your mom and dad, or whatever, is not enough. You need to show them why. Kids will understand way more than you think. Show them the common sense and the reasoning behind it. And make sure you get it through to them and reinforce it several times, always, forever, ongoing, just like they are doing. And if you know where it's coming from and it's a direct infringement on your child's development and ideals and psyche and morals and everything, then get them the hell out of that situation. I don't care if you can afford it or not. Figure it out. You can figure it out. You figure out how to get your next gun when you're broke and you got this to pay and that to pay. You figure out how to get that new scope or that rifle. Figure out how to take care of your kids and get them going down the right path. Because if you don't, someone else will. I promise you. Promise you. You can't lose this generation, and you will, no matter how good a parent you think you are. The old days of because I said so, guys, that can work, but appeal to their common sense and with love and when mom tell you or would dad tell you something that's wrong, we love you more than anything, right? That's what you need to appeal to. But take the time to think through the whole thing before reacting, because you'll take 2 steps backwards before you take a step forward if you do it that way. Please, please, please do that. That's your future. We can fight all we want. If we're so busy off fighting, what's happening right under your nose at home? Think about it. Every one of you with kids can think of a time that's happened. Well, no, Dad, my teacher said, or, well, no, Dad, Pastor so-and-so said, or, well, no, Dad, Bobby's dad said that. It didn't happen with my kids, but it happened with some family members' children, let's just say. And friends. I've seen it happen with friends' children. And in some cases, it wasn't malicious, but in most cases, it was just trying to swing the ideals. And those ideals aren't right. We know it. Guys, we're not the problem. We are not evil, malintended people. We're not power hungry. Matter of fact, we're the furthest thing from it. We want to be left alone. That's all. We don't want to bother anyone. Just leave me alone to do my thing and I won't bother you. Matter of fact, I'll be the one there to help you, to protect you, to save you, to do whatever. But it's always going to be for the right reason and the right ideals. And because I actually care and give a shit. And it's obvious to see. And it's all about common sense. Notice why they claim, how many bills do they have with common sense in it or safety in it? Hey, that's a good idea. Read excerpts from certain bills they pass. Child safety this, elderly protection this, common sense gun laws. Read certain excerpts. Make it short, to the point, sweet. Certain points that you can pick out in there. And then ask them. So what's this new bill called? Oh, it's called common sense, whatever, Dad. And what does that say and what does that mean? Do those two have anything to do with each other? Kid will tell you right away. No, it doesn't seem to be. Well, why would you think, son, that they would name something like that? Get them thinking. The tools are there. They're easy. You just need to make the time. Take the time for your most important asset. The most important thing, the thing you love the most in this world, those children. And make sure they understand it. Because every one of you here knows they're way smarter beyond their years, way smarter than we ever were at their age. That's the God's honest truth. Something you can do with your friends too. You don't want to, you can't do that direct to the in your face thing. That doesn't work. You got to use their ideas and then rephrase and turn and ask questions. Turn things into questions that allow them to think. Yeah. What he said earlier, that kind of thing. That's how you have to approach it. But handle your kids first. That's what's going to make or break this country. And they're light years ahead of us and have a good head start. Pay attention. The rest of it means nothing. Trust me. There'll be another um, new gun, another new this. Time to go do that. Take the time because it starts at home with your kids. All right, guys, we've been on a little over 2 hours, and my voice is going. So I'm going to let you go. I hope you enjoyed tonight. I'm sorry. That's 2 out of 3 weeks that, bam, the thing just failed. And I had internet. I had everything. Like now, things are going great. Just, I don't know if it's them. Awfully coincidental the 2 weeks ago, though, wasn't it? With what I was talking about. Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, just checking here in the comments real quick. Gun safety is the code word. Yeah. Gord, thanks for hosting this. No problem. Anytime. I enjoy it. Like I said, I try to make this about what you guys want to talk about. So when you bring things up in the comments, we'll talk about them. I'd rather have your ideas and what you want information on or want to go back and forth about in here. I'd rather talk about things you're interested in, things that are important to you, important to your state. I'm not Jared. I can't, don't have the time to make this full time and to keep up on Maine and Florida and Kansas. And so it's good to hear and it's good to share information and ideas. But it's all coming down pretty hot and heavy. And guys, don't get discouraged. Don't. Do something about it. Make that change at home. Start in your home and start in your local school district. Start on your town council and go from there. Be surprised how many people I know that started like that and are now state representatives. Got a good guy I know that now state representative. Never thought he'd be anywhere close. He's drinking beers with his buddies. And they started a grassroots campaign. Now he's a state representative down in Illinois. But that's how it gets going. You got to get good, quality, electable people. And the only way to move up to get to these bigger offices is to start locally and get noticed. And you might just find it fun. But that's what you got to do. Thanks for everything, guys. I appreciate it. Remember, the super chat's down there, a little dollar sign. Since we tend to get demonetized so much, it certainly helps. We would appreciate it. Thanks for everything. Thanks for stopping by. Check out the Vepper video. Hope you like it. I got some more coming for you real soon here. And can't wait to get that new barrel and see what we can do. We'll bring you a little thing on breaking in a barrel like that. And we'll do a video for you and show you that whole deal. And hopefully it's more accurate. We'll see, but it's going to be fun. Other than that, thanks again. Check out our live stream next week. Remember, Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock Central Time. And go and check out some videos. Have some fun. Until then, guys, take care of each other. Take care of your town. Take care of your neighbors. Take care of your kids. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out.